was okay. That's all right. I'm a West End. I remember West End.
You remember West End? Huh?
Yeah.
We wanted to go a different direction. All right, man. Well, let's we ready? Let me see if I have. You like some water? You like some water?
Yeah, I'll take a bottle.
Here's one water. You want it?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Boxing Podcast.
Yeah, the Flaming.
Hold on one second. I just get down on my people. Hold on.
All right, you good?
We're talking about fraud.
I just met with you.
Look, don't talk about the fraud.
The what?
Don't talk about
They
the
came
fraud. That's his brother.
Oh, they brothers.
Who's that?
Gerard.
Oh, okay, bro. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Cool.
his biological brother.
Okay.
Gerard's 51, Kevin 50. And he just got in between his like breeds.
We just talk about their story, his story, his the history behind growing up in Houston boxing.
Really, I will just talk about his boxing, what he's doing, coaching. And, I mean, it's gonna be. They don't know that's his boys and they champions. So. But everybody we done had up here, we just talk about how they started boxing in Houston and where they at, either coaches, fighters, whatever.
Everybody get in the podcast.
Yeah. I've been listening to him for about 4 or 5 years when he said, man, you thought about doing a boxing fight?
Write each one of y'all names down in mind.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to, you tell me now, we get the freestyle and that's where I'm at. I ain't gonna
Put it on that phone.
It'll be like chicken scratch. But he said, man, let's do a boxing podcast. I said, man, I want to do a podcast. And it never dawned on me to do it about what I know. I was trying to think of something else. Oh, that was stupid, man. And we've been doing this since January. It's going to be number 33.
33.
Episode 33.
Robert Derek Manning. All right, let's do this.
What's going on Facebook, Instagram? You live over there?
3, 2, 1.
What's going on Instagram and Facebook? This is Coach Derek with my co-host
Manny Fresh, what's up? Good morning. And we have our unofficial
Houston Hitman Robert Rivers. And today we got my man Kevin Charlo joining us this morning. What's going on, brother?
Hey man, what's going on?
We talked a few months ago talking about getting on the show, man. We on season 2 now. I said, man, you gotta come in here, man. But I know you worked all night, but I'm glad you made it in, man.
Oh man, I appreciate being invited here. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely, man. So your background in boxing, man. How you got started fighting, man?
Oh man, boxing for me started, man, at a very young age.
In Houston?
Yeah, here in Houston. I grew up, we call it back home as the projects. But I grew up in, we call it the dead end. Here in Houston. So,
all right, yeah.
It started with me in the dead end in Kings Gates Apartments. Well, what we was doing in their apartments, man, every day was we played football, tackle football in front of the apartments when I was younger. And it was a couple guys in the apartment complex that every day that we always had change of words, and from the competitiveness that I always carried and they carried as far as playing football, and One day we ended up into a physical confrontation with one of the guys, and that was this old man that used to pass through the apartments all the time. So he always saw me, and I always wanted to fight. So my thing was fighting. I love to fight. So that's what I did. Yeah. And so one day,
before you knew how, you was fighting.
Yeah, before I even knew how I was fighting. I guess you could say I was just one of those kids that I fed off of that. That was just something that I knew inside of my own heart, my own mind, and with inside of my spirit that I was a fighter. Right. I remember my mom telling me, as I grew up, that I came into this world fighting. So, but how it all developed for me was through. I can't today remember the man's face, but the man's name, but I can remember his face. It's funny, man. That was these two brothers named Kiri and Bebe that we called in the projects that I grew up in, and I was always in a fighting with his brother when we were playing football. But there was a gentleman named Derek that stayed directly next door to us in the complex. For whatever reason, me and him fought every day.
Fist fighting.
Yeah, fist fight every day. And so one evening we ended up playing football out in the front, and we ended up getting into a fist fight. And I guess this older man that used to pass through the apartments, and he seen me and Kiri and Bebe. But me and Bebe was the one fighting. Kiri was his brother. And man, the guy pulled out and said, "Come here, young man." He said, "Every time I see you, you always with this look on your face. You like you mad, or like you angry, or like you just like to fight, don't you?" So,
were you mad?
Yeah, I guess I was. But he ended up putting some boxing gloves out of his truck, and he then gathered all the kids around in the middle of the apartment complex parking lot, and he grabbed me and Bebe. He said, "Well, since y'all two are fighting," he gave both of us a pair of gloves and put the gloves on. Of course, my older brother was there at the time, and I could just, man, it was like first nature. I just knew that gloves belongs on my hand when he put those gloves on, and
it fit.
It was just natural, man. So we ended up fighting that day in the gloves, but I could hear my brother coaching from the backside of me. Like, I could hear him telling me what to do and what not to do. But I had this hot temper, so it was more or less like I just instantly got angry once I got hit where I didn't like. And at that time, I guess I didn't know how to channel, to use the energy of the anger to be my actually offense. You know what I'm saying? So
how old were you again at this time?
I'm probably at that time, I might have been around 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 7, 8 years old. This is around 70 something. So
it's all emotion. You fight, angry and fight.
So instantly, man, I just wanted to fight. It just came natural for me. But that particular day, man, I honestly could say, if I would say that I lost a fight before, I always say I never lost a street fight. But that particular day, man, I guess because I felt like I was getting the best of me. He was getting the best of me that day. Man, I actually took the gloves and snatched them off my hand, just threw them down to the ground. And that's when that older man pulled me to the side and said, "Listen, son, you have a natural gift to be a fighter." And of course my older brother, he was already in a boxing gym.
Okay.
So I kind of grew up watching him. At the same time, that's all I did was shadow box, fight inside of the bedroom, hitting the wall, hitting the pillow, hitting the mattress against the wall, things like that. So from there, I joined the gym, and my grandmother lived in South Park. We call South Park here in Houston, off of Van Fleet and Long Meadow. We grew up on Long Meadow, but they had this parking lot called Dan England parking lot.
Yeah.
And it was actually called, the name of the parking lot was really MLK Plaza. And Savannah had a boxing gym inside of that strip center, you know, and I used to go up there and watch the guys in there train, watch the guys in there work out, watch the guys hit the bag. I did a lot of watching and a lot of observation then where that's how I developed, you know, to the art of the skill of boxing.
That's where your brother was? The gym that your brother was at?
Well, no, my brother was boxing with, I had cousins called Curtis Arsenault and Keith Arsenault that were fighting early back.
French, yeah,
you know,
they in Louisiana somewhere?
well, they were here in Houston. We, so he used to go to our uncle's gym that had a gym in the backyard. You know, the boxer ring, bags hanging from the trees. So it's kind of started there. You know, I would say it really kind of started gutter. You know, we really just, you know, the boxing became nature of our family. But for us watching my brother training and hitting the bag and running and stuff like that, and I think my brother at that time was fighting. And from there, I would leave my grandmother's house and jog up to Savannah's boxing gym. And that's where boxing for me began, with Savannah, Willie Savannah. So I've been knowing Willie Savannah since probably 77, 78, 79.
He just recently opened another one since he sold that other Savannah's to Forest, Washington, but he done opened up again down the block. They was just telling him it was over there. Said that Savannah, he couldn't spare weight. He opened another gym.
Yeah, so that's really where boxing really began, you know, with Charlo family as far as how it all developed, how it all came about and started. So, and from there, I guess for me, I kept to it, you know, as I continued to grow up, you know, of course, growing up in the neighborhood, I used to, just like I said, I love to fight. So it was more or less like even going through middle school, high school, you know.
By this time, you learned how to fight middle school, high school.
I still would say that I was still in the development stages of trying to understand the science and the art of boxing. You know, of course, I don't even think in that time of my life, I didn't even know what the science or the art were, even the words, you know what I'm saying, that pertains to boxing. So as I continued to compete, my mom ended up seeing me because, like I said, I used to love to fight. Grew up with my mom in one single parent home, and it's just me being by the time I got to be a teenager, you know, I was already off into some things that I wanted to be into, you know, although I was still going to the gym boxing. So more so less I was out in the streets, you know. So and just hanging, running around in the neighborhood, but at the same time, I stuck to boxing. So I ended up running from Savannah's boxing gym in my early ages to when I got into my mom sent me to Louisiana. I ended up going to Job Corps from Louisiana. I ended up going to McKinney, Texas, and McKinney Job Corps. And again, that's where boxing also began to redevelop. You know, I went there, I started, you know, training and exercising and practicing on my art that I felt like that I was growing from. But the one thing that stuck with me, this is around 86, I listened to a documentary from Larry Holmes. And this stuck with me. And he said that any young man that would ever put on a pair of boxing gloves, if he ever wants to become a world champion, there's only 2 punches he must master. And I listened again real attentively to try to understand what 2 punches he was really talking about. And later on throughout the documentary, he came back to it and he said it again, and then he mentioned what the 2 punches was. And the 2 punches he mentioned said a young man must have a jab and a right hand. So from there, all I would do is throw a jab. I wouldn't do nothing else. I believe I could say today that I believe in my time in 86, 87, 88, I believe I had one of the best jabs that a person can get in front of. And I believe I also had the most dangerous and the best right hand that a person can step in front of. But it wasn't until I left Job Corps where I really began to learn how to fight on an amateur style fighting. When I say amateur style fighting, okay, we have a lot of amateur gyms around Houston today, and I see a lot of fighters that fight on the amateur throughout the amateur program. But I've been fortunate. I was fortunate. When I left Job Corps in 86 or 87, in the latter part of 86, beginning part of 87, I had a chance to work out in a gym called Houston Boxing Association. And in that gym, mainly that gym was built with mostly pros. And also had the USA boxing team that was part of that gym. I wasn't part of the USA boxing team at that time. You know, just beginning with development. But I had I think I've been blessed. I think I've been fortunate and to be around some of the world's greatest fighters, you know, name fighters that was out of that gym. You know, so by this time now I'm 16, 17 years old. So I've gotten older, I've gotten taller, I grew 6 inches by that time. And because everybody thought I was going to be short, but I ended up having the opportunity to train with several great coaches that was out of that gym. I'd just like to mention one of them anyway, Potato Pies, who we called him.
Potato pies?
Yeah, his name was Potato Pie. I don't remember about Potato Pie. He was the head USA team coach. As I came through in HBA every day, I also had a gentleman, just friend of mine, that also helped me develop when I was in Job Corps, named Holland Williams Sr. We used to call Sid. His name was Cedric, but we called him Sid. His name was Holland Williams. He basically, I can say, he was one of my main first coaches too. You know, so somebody that really stood in front of me. We stood in front of each other. We used to work out in Job Corps because we was in Job Corps together in McKinney. And I've learned a lot from him. You know, when he came to Job Corps, he was already fighting on the USA national team. You know, won a few USA national championships. I remember having a 132-pound division championship. And from there, we used to call, let's take it to the slab. This was in Job Corps. But Job Corps actually had a full boxing gym. You know, full ring, badge, treadmills, everything, weights. So, but
I believe George went to Job Corps and learned to fight, right?
Yeah, I think George Foreman went to San Marcos, if I'm not mistaken. Right. If I'm saying that correctly. But yeah, he also too went to Job Corps. So Job Corps is where I actually really began to develop, you know, how to fight.
Is Job Corps even still around?
Yeah, they still have Job Corps. They still have.
Because I'm sure
they still have those type of facilities to help kids that's going through, young men and young women that's going through transition in life. You know what I'm saying? For as, you know, they've been involved in any type of trouble as far as, you know, court or even having trouble at home.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe just not, I don't like to use the word and say call any one of those kids out like saying they're being disobedient, but the truth of the matter is being disobedient. You know what I'm saying? You're not following the rules of your parents, so that's being disobedient. But however, as far as the development of skill and the science and the art of boxing began with Potato Pie at HBA. I had the opportunity to be in the ring with some of the, like I said, some of the world's greatest fighters. I had opportunities to be in the ring and work with Roger Mayweather, Calvin Seabrook. I can name many other fighters. I really don't like to call people names out in the midst of conversation, but I'll go back to Holland Williams. He was really the person that stood in front of me that was already on a USA national level before I even went to HBA. So he kind of helped me develop some of the skills that I was able to develop. I always had the natural talent to fight. You know, my thing was to hit, not get hit. Right. So I was more of a slick type fighter back then. I was more crafty. I was just a stand outside pocket type fighter. I say stand outside pocket type fighter. So I stand outside of you, but I would see a pocket in my mind. That's how I fought. So in that development, man, for us at HBA, by being around and exposed to greatness, I developed the attitude and the characteristics of greatness when it came to training. I learned how to train. I learned how to work out. I've learned what to do, what not to do. I just basically, listened attentively to the coaches that were standing in front of Roger Mayweather, you know what I'm saying? Standing in front of Calvin C. Brook, just down on Ray Caples, I can go down on Curry. It's several fighters that I had the opportunity to watch in my area growing up. But after that has passed, of me for boxing, of course by this time I'm now having kids. And
how old were you this time?
I was 19,
Oh, okay.
19, 20. So I began to have my sons, and this is how boxing became a part of their life. They were able to watch me go to the gym, and this time I was living in Rosenberg, Richmond. So I also worked out with Ruben Perez. I don't know if you know who Ruben Perez is, but Ruben Perez at one time was one of the great fighters too. Also had a chance of being in the ring with Raul Marquez. These are guys come out of Glenwood Park. So I kind of floated around when I was younger. Didn't really have no solid, foundation as far as to say gym that as I got older that I actually fought out of. Right. I fought unattached for several years in my young adult life. But
did you ever train out in Richmond, Rosenberg? Was there any gyms?
Yeah, I trained out of the Blas.
Okay, yeah.
Blas boxing gym.
I think they're still around.
Yeah, Blas is still around. And so I think back then Blas had a guy named Termite and another guy named Blue. So it was and Ruben Perez, Jerry Perez, Carlos Perez. Me and Carlos Perez, which is much heavier than me. I used to like working out with guys that was a little bigger than me because I thought it made me stronger and hit harder in the ring. But he was part of that training sessions too over there. So I had a chance, like I said, to be in the ring with some great fighters. I consider to be some great fighters or some good fighters. In other words, I never was just in a ring with an average, amateur when I was an amateur fighter. I never had a chance to actually have a professional fight. In '94, I had an accident, fractured my neck, and I was in the process of training for a professional fight, and I was told that I would never be able to fight again. So then that's when I left boxing and began to, go to school, went to college, got a degree, then from there I went to work. And
what'd you get a degree in?
This was industrial hygienist at the time.
Oh, okay.
So I was doing that for several years, and during that process of doing that, I was still training, I was still working out, because I always thought that I would be the one still fighting. I'm a man that have dreams, I'm a man that have visions, I see things before it happen, and I would always have these dreams of seeing myself holding up the world title. Like, it was me that I thought was winning the world title. So I would always tell that to my kids, so I go back to running, back to training, back to fighting, and working 2 jobs, raising a family at that time, a young family at that time, and it just kind of was conflicting of what I was able to do as far as being dedicated to the gym, boxing, and my family at the same time. But at the same time, at that time, I guess I was around 21, 22 years old, 23 years old. Life took a turn for me. I had already went to a unit, came back, but life, it took its turn, and I had my own personal struggles in my life, at the time, and those things no longer existed later on in life. But as my kids were growing up, I began to teach them when we actually left and moved from Houston to Louisiana around 95, okay? And we lived in Lafayette. So this is where Lafayette comes in play. When kids, I hear my kids talk a lot about Lafayette. We lived in some projects in Lafayette, and this is how boxing began for them in development. As far as now, I'm actually teaching you the art of boxing. I done already taught you how to stand on your feet, how to throw a jab, how to throw a right hand, how to put a punch together for its combination.
Fundamentals.
So now we're standing in front of other kids in the projects. So we used to have 30, 40 kids out in the projects in the middle of the slab, and I had 2 headgears, 2 boxing gloves, 2 nail guards, and kids had their own mouthpiece. So they would just take turns with all the kids in the projects that would come out and on that slab, in front of our apartment too.
How old were the boys at this time?
By this time, I believe that my sons they might have been 5 or 6 years old. They might have been 5 or 6 years old at
And
this
were they
time.
are they the only kids? Yeah, but they.
No, I have an older son. He mostly played football. His thing was football and track. So, but he also, around that same time, 5 or 6, 7 years old, he also was taught. He was also putting the gloves. He was go with the other kids and stuff like that. But for Jamal and Jamil, Jamal and Jamil had the natural. It was like I was told. It was just something that it was just in you. It was just in you.
Right.
I was constantly say it's just in the DNA. It wasn't so much of me having to teach them. They already was showing the attributes and delivering the attributes of a fighter. Of course, we're talking about identical twins.
Right.
And all they did was fight. Play fight amongst each other or wrestle fight amongst each other. I always kept a pair of boxing gloves, 2 or 3, 4 pair of boxing gloves inside the house. So, of course, they always walked around with the gloves on their hands. We're talking about as young as 2 years old.
But they took to it, right?
They took to it instantly. It was always in them from the time that they first took their first steps. They was already knowing how to hold their hands up properly, how to throw a jab. I'm not going to say properly, but they knew how to throw a jab. They knew how to move on their feet. So it was those things that, basically I used to watch them play around the house, and as I see them, tussling with each other with the boxing gloves, I'll be actually telling them, hey, you need to correct the right leg. The right leg, you need to put a bend in it. You need to squat down a little bit. You stand up too high, that's how you get hit. That's how you get caught. So at 2, 3 years old, they was already making adjustments.
Getting the pace.
So by the time we moved to Lafayette at 5 or 6, and this time they was now practicing with other kids on the things that they was already taught. How to put the punch together, how to throw the punch, pushing off the back leg, how to sit down when you actually throw a hook, which I never taught them how to throw a hook. I don't believe in teaching people how to throw a hook because I believe that's a natural punch, by instinct that any person can throw. As far as development, yes, I believe you have to develop the hook, uppercut, right hook, those type of punches in a fighter. It comes through development. But you take a person that fights off the street that don't know nothing about boxing, they throws hooks. Even if it's wild, it's still a hook. But for the boys, man, it was like first nature. I never really had to take and like sit down and say, hey, this is how you do this, how you do that. And I guess it became first nature for them because they watched me constantly punching the bag. They watched me constantly shadow boxing. Like I said, when I was at HBA, I had an opportunity to work with some great trainers that actually coached the Olympic team. I had some Olympic fighters that fought on the Olympic team that was in the gym that I had a chance to work out with, had a chance to spar with, had a chance to, I guess I call it fighting against. But so throughout the years, I began to realize the most important thing that any fighter that ever put on a pair of gloves that need to learn how to throw properly was a jab in the right hand. So they would, at this time, 5, 6 years old, they wouldn't throw nothing but a jab in the right hand. The other punches became natural, as they saw them. So we would take the gloves out in Lafayette, and I would let them do what they do. And I would coach from the side. I would tell them what they were doing wrong. Mostly what I saw in them was not always looking for error, but I corrected errors by coaching and telling them from the side, what do you need to do and what you're not. Why you get hit this way? This is why you getting hit. It's because you move this way, or because you having your arms like this, or you're throwing your punches like that. But at the same time, I was still having a desire to fight because I was still having this dream.
I was going to ask you, man, when you went to Louisiana, was you still trying to...
Yeah, I still was there. I was still running 8 miles, 10 miles every day. Just literally, I ran 8 miles to 10 miles every day. I worked out like this all day. And my son used to ask me, well, Daddy, why do you work out every day? Mm-hmm. I say, well, in this sport, there's actually no off days. Mm-hmm. You have to train and work out every day. I don't care if it's just running. I don't care if it's just you shadow boxing at the shadow on the wall, or standing in the mirror, or working on your balance, whatever. You have to do this every day.
Do you still work out like that?
Well, not today. I haven't been able to work out. I just recently went through a surgery. I'm recovering from a surgery, so I'm recovering from several surgeries that I've had in the last few years, but I'm recovering from one surgery since last July. I had surgery on my right rotator cuff. Okay. So it's been really hard for me to actually throw a punch, but
from all the years of boxing.
This was a car accident related.
Oh, okay.
Injury, but however, I had understood then from, like I said, listen to that documentary, man. So when I used to live in Louisiana with my boys, I used to train with a guy named Jason Papillon. That was several guys out of Louisiana that was great fighters. Mm-hmm. Roman George was a good fighter. So I was still trying to fight then because I was still seeing myself winning the world title.
And this time, and at this age, how old were you then?
This is probably
26, 27?
Probably 26. No, probably 24, 25.
24, 25.
Somewhere in that age bracket. But
this was after the doctors told you.
Yeah, this was after the accident. Yeah. So I ended up not fighting anymore. So, but I was still at the time was developing my sons, still coaching, still teaching them.
Did you train any other kids or just you?
No, it was just me and my sons at that time. Of course, the other kids that would come in the projects that were in Louisiana, I would also teach them how to stand correctly. But I didn't spend the time that I was spent on a lot of other kids like I've done recently in the last few years. But at that time. But moving forward from there, man, we moved back from Lafayette to Houston, and that's when boxing took off for the Suns for his fighting amateur, registering, because I used to tell them I didn't want them to box. No, I didn't. But I remember telling them, when you're ready to box, when you're ready to do this, then you'll come to me and tell me you're ready. And that's after we had moved back from Lafayette. Jamal and Janelle both reminded me, Daddy, you said when we were ready to box that you would take us and begin this boxing. So we ended up going to Savannah's boxing gym, which, like I said, I started out at Savannah's. So we ended up going to Savannah's boxing gym. The first year with my boys boxing, all I made them do was sit down and watch, look. You couldn't touch the bag, you couldn't shadow box, you couldn't jump rope, you couldn't do nothing but watch the other kids. So we did that for almost a full year.
And how old were they then? About 10, 11?
By this time, they were around 8, 9 years old.
And how was it for them? Were they getting frustrated? Did they want to get in there?
They kept, wanting to box.
Right.
But my objective for them in observation was to see if this is something that you really want to do. And if it is, you gonna know. Right. And I would know. So we end up now, at this time after that, I think about 8, 9 months. Now I'm in the gym with them, training with them every day, teaching them on Saturdays. Now I'm working inside the ring with them. I'm watching them hit the bag. But when we went to the gym at that time, the only thing you was able to throw, I said we'll go to the gym. I kind of like mixed it up a little bit. I would just let them freestyle sometimes, just let them do what they had in their mind. But mine was development. My whole mind was development. So when I had my workout for them, it was when you went to the gym, it was no talking. They couldn't talk to nobody in the gym. We came here to work out. So I guess I was kind of rigid as a father when it came to that, and I was serious about that. But we had a workout where you went to the gym, you threw 2,000 jabs. And, that's nothing, we'll do that real quick. No, we're going to throw 2,000 correct jabs. Sitting down on your leg, bending your knee, shooting the jab turned over correctly, hitting the bag. I'm going to be able to tell the way it sounds. I don't have to look at it and hear it. I can hear it, know that you threw the jab right. So we did that as a routine every day. that's what you done. We did that every day for the first 5-6 months, but over time I started trying to mix other things in as far as how to move on your feet, how to stand on your feet. So
were they quick learners?
Yeah, they was, like I said, they was all, it was natural.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I could just stand from the outside, which this is how I train, man. This is how I coach. I don't stand in the ring with you unless I'm working on, something with you, so you can see a development skill or something. But I stand from the outside of the ring and talk to you from there. And that's how I would do with them when they were younger. Like, I would stand outside the ring and I would just pay attention to how they stepping, how they moving, how they throwing their punches, and then from there when we go home, man, we didn't talk about boxing.
You did not?
No. Once we left the gym, we left boxing at the gym. So
when you in the gym, it's all about business.
It's business.
When you leave the office, you leave the office.
It's there. But they would also, they would come home, they'll do their own little workouts inside their room, or they'll go back and work on a drill that I may have told them, that we was working on inside the gym. So,
were they competitive with each other?
Man,
like I throw a jab better than you?
Always. Very competitive. Not only just with themselves. I mean, they older brother also was competitive alongside them in every sport. They played every sport. They just didn't box.
Right.
They played football. They played basketball. They ran track. So, they kind of mixed up around their junior year of middle school. That before they go into high school is when they decided to make the decision. So I would tell them, hey, look, when it comes to boxing and any other sport, you can't play boxing. So you're gonna have to choose which one you want to do. We're gonna be football. We're gonna do football. We're gonna be, track. It's gonna be track. Baseball. Football. But they both chose boxing, and from there it's just where they are today. They developed good work habits early on, and they life as far as from babies. It was constantly working out. So I truly believe in what we have done as a team as far as men and boys and development. Is this is why they're able to do the things they're able to do today in the ring. So they where they need to be as far as their careers right now. What I'm saying? They still developing. The one thing I used to always say, let me say this, I also tell this to a lot of fighters. The one thing that I've learned over the years, because it was like when my boys first came into the gym and began to be competitive and competing with other kids and sparring and working out and fighting, that these kids was already in the ring. They was already competing on national levels. So there was times they would come home with bruises. There was times they come home with a busted off lip. There was times they come home with bloody nose. And they would say, well, I tried to do what you were telling me. I'm like, listen, the one thing that we're only up against right now, son, is time and experience. Once time catch up with the experience, and once the experience catch up with the time, it's going to be at the right time. Because we'll go, like, they first shoot out, we went to ringside. Both of them made it all the way to the finals. All the way to the finals. Won every fight throughout the whole tournament. And fell short in the finals. Because the other kids already had their reputations, their names known, and, they have the experience or whatever. So the first shootout, as far as a major tournament, a national tournament, was ringside. And they fell short. And that's where that came from. Like, hey, some of these kids have a little bit more experience than you. All you have to do is continue to put time in, continue to fight. We don't care who we get in front of. We don't care who you're fighting against. We're not critiquing the weight classes to fight in this weight class and not fight in this weight class. You fight at whatever weight that you weigh in at, and you fight whoever stands in front of you.
Looking back at it now, is there a challenge between being a father and a coach? Are there times where you recognize something and say, okay, well, I can't be a coach right now. I have to be more of a father, or is it the same thing, coach and a father? You ever have those moments? I got a 6-year-old, so I haven't experienced that yet.
Well,
you have some older kids as well, coach. And
well, my kids learn to fight much like pretty much the same story.
Right.
But they all took like the athlete, not Charlo, he took the basketball and football, and because that's not I only played that up to high school and that was it. Mm-hmm. But I'm hands off. I'm not a football player, so I find the best football coach, and that's what he went with. Right. You know, best basketball coach. Finding that's what, because I believe in that. I believe the same thing with fighting. You know, a lot of fathers, they can start their kids off, but then at some point they need to find somebody, and I think that'd be the father if he knows he's can't develop past that. I didn't. None of my kids ain't developing in boxing, but as far as the other sports, I chose the father role because I had to. I'm not a football player. I couldn't tell you how to play or none of that, so it's a little different.
Well, I say as a father that did coach and that did do some fighting, and I always knew how to channel the difference between when I was in the gym, I was in the gym.
Yeah, like you said, you turned it off.
So when we went home, we didn't talk about boxing. You know, I'm not saying that around the house that boxing was never talked about, like as if we didn't talk about boxing at any time. No, of course we had conversations. Sure. But it wasn't surrounded around boxing once we was at home. So in other words, we knew how to turn it off.
That's how you turn it off. The difference.
But as far as a coach and a father, I can say that every father that I've met that were coaching their kids, and every father that I see that coaching their kids, that are they young men, adults, kids today, they coaching their kids even as they turn professional. I think the best connection is between that father and their son. The father knows his son. If he's the one that begins to teach and develop him, he knows his weakness. He knows his strengths. He knows his style as far as what he was teaching. So, but at the same time, I'm going to use myself as an example. I've come up in the gym with Ronnie Shields, Dorian Richardson, several other fighters as I was younger in the early 80s, and I kind of just watched them as they continue to progress in their professional career. So when my boys got to a point where I was training them and coaching them around 9, 10 years old, and we began to fight amateur competitively, and Ronnie was still training other fighters out of Savannah's gym. But Ronnie also would stand on the side of the ring and watch how I would actually coach and train my boys. But I don't know. I've always felt that what I was seeing and what was being shown to me, that it was going to be someone else that was going to step in at the right time, when it was going to be time for those boys to kind of like detach away from the father being the main coach, the father being the one in front of you, because I never was the type of father that wouldn't allow another coach to stand in front of my son and tell or teach my son or work with him, or on technique or pad work or bag work, or even just in shadow boxing and you talking to him from the ring, because I believe a kid can learn from, or a man can learn from any coach, because my way of coaching may be different than your way of coaching. So I believe he can learn from your way of coaching at the same time, and if he able to develop that skill to be able to, he can adjust to any style of fighter. That was my mind frame. So we got 6 coaches that coach 6 different ways. then you got 6 different fights. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh,
so
absolutely.
of course, you know, I knew it was gonna come a time where that I may have stepped to the side, so to speak. I don't want to use the word step down. I would say step to the side. That as a father, I remember Savannah used to tell me, "Well, Kevin, you know, you the type of father." Because I was compassionate. I'm compassionate about this sport, man. I've loved this sport, and so when it came to teaching, you can see that from me.
Right.
You know, into the person that I'm teaching or I'm coaching. So Savannah used to say, you know, Kevin, as your kids get older, you're not gonna know when it's your point of allowing them to move on and with another coach in front of them or another person in front of them to take them where they need to go or, you know, to the next level. But I've always saw Riding Shields. And I used to tell my kids, I see Riding Shields and dream. They seeing that this is what I felt that God was telling me that He was going to be the one coaching them at time when they got to that age of turning professional. And everything that I've ever spoken, that I'm repeating today, I done repeated before, have all come to pass. So,
including seeing yourself hold the title, you just seen the boy that looked exactly like you.
yeah, you know,
holding the title. That's what happened.
So, exactly, you know. So yes, I'm one of those type of fathers, man. As you mentioned earlier, I'm one of them type of fathers that I believe that, you know, even as a trainer, I think that I have the knowledge, the understanding, and the skill to take any person from development stages first to intermediate stages to advanced stages to professional stages to where even winning a world title. I have that much understanding as a coach that I believe that I can do that, you know. But at the same time, as a coach and as a person, if I know I need help, I'm willing to receive help. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, I don't know it all. You know what I mean? I don't know everything. So I'm only as good as the fighter is. And the fighter's only as good as his trainer is. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm able to have another person such as Riding Shields to step in and that, you know, that is the face of boxing, which, you know, I always saw him being the face of boxing and has the skills that he had when he was fighting. And now he has some knowledge as a trainer, and he trained Holyfield and trained, you know, several great professional world titles.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So why would not allow or want him to be the person that stands on the side of me or the person that stands in front of my son? So I'm grateful to Riding Shields, and I thank Riding Shields for, at the time, I was working offshore, so I was in and out. I wasn't able to be fully committed, and he stepped up to the plate at around the age 15, 16 years old, and 14 years old, and began to actually cease and work with Jamal and Jamil. But me and Ryder talked about that, I guess, when the kids were 8 years old. I actually told Ryder what I was seeing.
Before you went to Louisiana.
Yeah. So I actually told him what I was seeing, and I actually told him what I felt, what was spoken to me. You know what I'm saying? And then they just all came to pass. And in the early development stages of their professional career, I was there on side with Ryder. I was still training. I was still working with my sons, and then it just came to a point where I knew my time as a father was to be a father, you know, not a coach. So yeah, I would say it comes a point in time where, as a father and a coach, they, you know when you should just be a father. You know, and like today, I'm just a father. I'm not their coach. I'm not their trainer.
Well, you say
You know?
just like
That's a big deal.
That's the most important thing. Because when it's all said and done, when the boxing career is over and everyone's gone.
What I'm hearing is, and I agree with you, what I'm hearing is, correct me if I'm wrong, a father and his son fighting as far as boxing goes, as long as it works, do it. If you see you need some help from somebody else, or you need to step back and be a dad, or whatever the case may be. And I would like to think that's what I'd have done had it got to a point. Because of course I'd have been training my sons, right? and a half when they was little. But when they didn't follow boxing, you know, I didn't go pretend like I'm a football coach. You know what I'm saying? Nah, man, let's go find somebody who's a football guy. So it ain't like boxing. You know, it's plenty successful father-son world champion duos. You know what I'm saying? But you got to look at. I look at and nothing about ability. That ain't what I'm talking about. But you look at the Porter kid, right? Who got his day, and they go get that other guy to help him. Yeah. Well, regardless of the outcome of anything, that's a father saying, maybe I need some help with this, let's go get it. And I think if a father's best intention is for his child, he'll do that. Right. He ain't gonna be so stubborn. Put it this way. I thought about 3 fights ago that Garcia needed some help. Right? When his dad made
Mikey?
No, not Mike.
Danny.
Out of Philly. Danny.
Danny.
When he became that one punch, he's just slinging, looking for that hook. I'm like, man, it's time to upgrade, bro. You need somebody to go put the punches together. Right. Now that's just my opinion as a trainer. So I'm saying, I'm not saying cash your dad or something. I'm saying go get some fucking help, man. That's all. Go get somebody else, because another thing I like Kevin said was when experience meets the
timing.
Right. Because here's the thing. Maybe y'all just played y'all made it to the world title level. Plenty of success. Maybe y'all it's time to upgrade or not upgrade, change the course to add something. Because what's the peak level in a fighter's? We know this ain't an old man sport. Yeah. Regardless to the 2 old men that did it. But you need to if your son is stagnant or he's a plateau with you, you probably need to go find somebody. And you coming into it sound like you were saying to yourself, not that you couldn't do it, but you said if ever there was a time
that I had to
I know who Ryan Shields is. Yeah. He's a great trainer. That's who I would like to see with him. And I think they both ended up with him, right?
Yes.
So to me, you asked him about juggling father coach. That shows which one you are. The father's gonna say, all right, man, maybe you need to work with this guy.
Yeah, whatever's in the fighter's best interest.
And I'm sure if one of them boys called you right now and said, say, Pops, I need you in the gym, y'all would come to some kind of understanding and go help your boy out with fighting.
Yeah, definitely.
That's I don't see no problem with father-son trainers. I don't see no problem at all, unless it's a problem.
I think it's a good thing. You know, it still helps build a relationship. You know what I'm saying, for his father and son. It's a bond there. You know, so yeah. But it's good to know as a father that you can understand that, hey man, I can only bring you so far.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they can call somebody else in to help you and just set aside, just allow him to see. It was more or less for me allowing them. It was about them,
as it should have been.
It was always about them.
Right.
So even when they was amateurs, when we walked down to the ring, I walked in the back of them.
Right.
I didn't walk on the side nor in the front. I allowed them to walk in front because it was about them. So basically, it's always about the fighting.
Do you still see a lot of your fundamental teachings in them? Like right now as fighters? Like as far as how they step?
Your mark on?
Yeah.
Your jab?
Yeah, I have to say I do. But they like I said, they still developing. As elite world class fighters, as champions. You never can stop growing in this sport, man.
Right.
You never can stop learning.
The minute you think you can.
So that's why I believe that's when a fighter becomes stagnated, because now you feel like you done gained and you done learned everything that you can learn. You can't do no more. To me, that's then the career's over. You might as well retire because there's no other
room. Just a matter of time.
There's no other room for nothing else. So.
Do you feel like when you watch them today, you learn from them? Like, because you're training right now, right? Or you're starting to train kids and.
Yeah. Well, what I do is when I watch them fight, as they always would say to me, I always see the errors. Mm-hmm. So there's some things that I see that I believe Ronnie not seeing right now.
That's what a
You know
trainer
what I'm saying? And I think that's what any trainer. It's just like Derrick James is training Jamil now. You know, I see some things that in the way Derrick James trains Jamil that actually changed the Jamil's fight style. You know, from what he was actually taught fundamentally wise. But at the same time, they've always kept their roots. I think at this point with Jamil is in his career, he kind of stepped away from his roots in his last fight. I guess it was fight with Harrison. You know what I'm saying? And
I was coming to that.
Yeah,
we got to talk
in
about
that fight, I believe he kind of stepped away from his roots as far as what he was grounded with. You know what I'm saying? What he was taught. But at the same time, like I said, that's always a point of growth and development. You see what I'm saying? That's a proven fact right there from that fight in each and one of them. You know what I'm saying? So
how did you score that fight? What you thought? As a trainer, of course.
Honestly, I thought Jamil did enough, but didn't do enough.
He left it in the air a little bit.
So I would always tell them this when they were younger, because like I said, when they first came out the gates from their first national tournament ringside, you know, come back disappointed because literally I could see from the outside, like just because I'm your father, I'm not a biased person when it comes to schooling and coaching. You know what I'm saying? And looking at a fight. If you lost that, I'll tell you lost that. Period. Just straight up. You didn't do enough. I would just never sugarcoat it. So, I just would say, I thought in that fight right there that he did enough, but didn't do enough as the champion. You know what I'm saying?
You left some room for
but you left it in the judge's hands. Is basically what I'm saying, and that's what I used to tell them: never leave it in the judge's hand. Now, did he win it on the scorecards? Yes. Did he win Did he win the fight as far as his performance? Yes and no. You know what I'm saying? As far as to say, critic wise, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
this is based upon what you taught them. Never leave it up to the judges. Based upon that criteria, okay, we can see how you have that opinion. But if you're looking at the fight, he should have won. He should have, the scorecard was in his favor.
I would say it like this.
I
would see it like this.
But go ahead.
I would say it like this. Not cutting you off. I would say it like this. Now, I don't want nobody to misunderstand what I'm saying. Like I said, yes and a no. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like he maybe done enough and didn't do enough. What I'm actually saying is this: as a fighter, you the champion.
Right.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? You the champion. It's you. No doubt that you leave that.
Right.
In that ending of type of performance,
the fight was too close.
Right. You leave it too close to where if they wanted to lean toward one side or the other, you know,
they're
what
still
I'm
going to give it to the champion.
You know, you would think they would give it to the champion. 9 times out of 10, the champion comes out the victory. You know what I'm saying? But in that case and situation, it was just clearly that you left it in the judge's hand, and that should have been a learning lesson from him. From that point forward,
from right there,
that you never leave it in the judge's hand.
What adjustments you think Mel ought to make for this rematch with Harrison? What would you have liked him seeing him more? Do you think it's a drastic change he needs to make, or is just
nothing drastic. I just think he should. I can't say he should be more busier. You know what I'm saying? But I am going to say he should be more busy. He should be more busy with his jabs. He should be more busy with his straight punches, going down the pipe with Harrison. Because Harrison going to fight you from the outside. He's a technical fighter. He fights from the outside. He used basic, turns, angles, combinations, you know what I'm saying? Just as he did when he fought the first time. He uses,
he could fight.
A jab and a 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But most definitely, pressure, you know what I'm saying? He was pressuring like he did, but you got to pressure him with the jab.
I felt like he was aggressive in that fight though. I felt like and he outlanded.
Well, I'm clearly, and I told you this on Facebook when that fight happened. I'm clearly biased. I'm rooting for Houston,
Me
but
too.
I had